你要做一件事情，你要坚持做是很难的东西。你要成功，我觉得就是要坚持吧。
Running a basketball team looks all cool and stuff, but on the inside, it's not as fun as it seems like, and it costs a lot, 8 figures at least.
马来西亚篮球是非常糟糕的，你不可能以职业篮球员的身份去生活了。我最近很像每次被人家问到一个问题，就是很好笑，你打完篮球过后你要做什么
？From what I heard from like my friends in Hong Kong, they're like 打波揾唔到食 right? That's always the saying, right?
Yes, NBA or yes, NFL, and yes, these premium platforms are always going to be dominant in some sense, but I think Japan is a great example of this.
Anywhere in Asia, I think there's a huge potential, like you said.
Consumer behavior is changing. Look, I think part of it we didn't have good venues, now we do, and then the other part was that the system wasn't conducive to producing high quality content.
大家好，歡迎收睇今日我哋嘅我要做訪問啦。咁啊，今日咧我哋呢個係非常之另類嘅一個 topic 啦。而家嚟到呢個澳門啊，呢度係咩啊？新濠影匯嘅呢個 event 就係咁，呢個 event 咧就係我自己最中意啦，師傅阿 Greg 咧亦都最中意一個籃球比賽啊。咁啊，今晚咧會有我自己嘅一隊球隊澳門黑熊啦，對呢個 Jeremy Lin 啊林書豪嗰個台灣嘅新北國王球隊將會有比賽嘅。咁啊，我今日專程咧嚟到呢度澳門嗰度咧，就有幾位朋友咧就邀請過嚟做我哋呢個訪問啦。咁我身邊有呢個咧就係馬來西亞最勁，除咗我之外應該係最勁嘅一個籃球員啦。我唔係馬來西亞啦，不過應該差唔多 level 啦，係啦。咁係我嘅球隊啦，其中一個球員啦，我都好中意即係睇佢打波，因為佢防守好落力啊。Jeremy Lin 都唔係佢對手嚟，講下先係啦。馬來西亞就好多人啦認為啦，就係而家係呢個第一人嘅籃球員啦，咁就係陳俊宏啊 ，OK。咁啊花名咧就叫做美美。咁啊我哋今日除咗講下即係佢嘅籃球即係嗰個 career path 之外咧，咁我哋都可以講下喂，其實做一個運動員喺亞洲究竟揾唔揾到食㗎？咁好多觀眾喺大馬嗰邊、香港、澳門，大家都好即係好多指到呢個問題，咁我都收到好多呢啲留言啦。咁我哋今日就趁呢個機會咧，就邀請到阿美美啦，就同大家去分享佢嘅 career path。咁啊好啊，那美美是講國語為主的，所以我們現在要講一點華語啦。但她可以講廣東話啦，但是還是我們用華語吧。好，那美美你可以介紹一下你自己的 background， 還有為什麼你的名字叫美美？
我是馬來西亞球員哦，然後就是被黑熊邀請來這個打這個馬考杯杯哦。然後怎麼會叫美美呢？就是因為以前我公公開理髮店，然後很多人不知道他的名字，所以他就以那個我們那邊的人很喜歡就以那個店名就是去叫他那個人的名。因為我小時候就被我同學聽到這麼一個男孩子會叫美美。所以他就是拿這個美美來笑我，來笑我，然後就從小被人家笑到大，我就心想啊，算了，你要笑你就笑咯，就叫咯。然後我就想到可能美美也讓人家容易記嘛，就是我現在跟你說我叫美美，
沒關係，你現在可以笑他們，你現在可以關男了。
無意間把這個美美就是美美的名字用到很普遍的，就因為小時候我們的就是上學的時候造句都是用什麼美美吃的一個蘋果，以前的這樣，
算是一個什麼廣東話叫發明，這個講法，所以這個蠻酷。因為我在看比賽的時候，我為什麼這個是誰美美，所以我覺得都蠻酷的。那有個 background 是你的爺爺那邊那個故事，是吧？好，那可以講一下你是從小怎麼可以，就是那個 career path 啊，就是開始打球到現在是一個職業籃球員，你是應該是第一個Malaysian 的籃球員從Malaysia 去一個國外打球，是不是？
據我所知應該是吧，就是以外援的身份，就是從小就是我從幾歲開始打，就是可能6、7歲的時候，就是我跟我姐姐一起去打球就玩耍，然後就開始接觸籃球，就覺得籃球很好玩，就把那個球丟向籃筐裡面，很有那成就感，一進來的球很有成就感，就開始慢慢打球咯。因為其實，在中學的時候，其實玩過很多的其他的 sport，可是我還是覺得籃球會比較好玩， 就其实我中学时期有停止打篮球了，就是有一次比赛，就是他们知道我会打球，然后我就去参加，对到以前小学的队友那些，我就被他们打爆，我就心想，以前是我就是我打得比你厉害，结果变到上了中学的时候就输给你了，就我那个好胜心就开始我就开始去打球啊，就接触正规的篮球啊，去训练啊，去找好像，因为我从小就开始打这个我对 Matrix 啊，所以就刚好他们有一个 camp， 我就去 join 他们的 camp，我就是打，从小打到大，就我已经打了差不多45年。这样。
所以你是从20出头开始打这个 Matrix？
没有，我从14岁就开始打。
14岁就开始打这个 Matrix， 所以有一个 Youth Camp 啊。
对。
之后开始慢慢打到 Professional， 现在你是国家队的，毕竟是 basically 都是第一球员的。
然后就开始就是可能在马来西亚打球打到可能，因为一样的环境嘛，就我觉得可能。我还想要成长，可是就是一样环境就成长不了，就可以想要换一个环境哦。
OK。
就刚好有一个机会，黑熊贝贝就邀请我，就来了。
好 ，You welcome 。那没关系的我那个蛮酷的，因为我对 Malaysia 这个篮球的 market 我都没有很认识，所以我不知道就是怎么可以从0开始到一个国家队达到这个 path 你觉得是很难呢，还是？这个你的有什么想法？
其实是蛮难一下的，就是你要坚持10多年做一样事情，其实是很难的嘛。我觉得就是，可能其实我身边的朋友以前跟我打过球，也是跟我讲如果我可以坚持的话，我也可以像你这样怎么这样。其实就是坚持很难的。我从这个事情明白到，就是你要做一件事情，你要坚持做是很难的东西。你要成功，我觉得就是要坚持吧。就像你做工一样，你需要在这领域。做1-2年就成功就很难了嘛，是不是？可能你就要花一点时间这样。
好，那我想问一下，现在就是比较 financial 方面的东西，所以你是打黑熊之前都是在 Malaysia 打好几年了嘛 ？Professional 的话，那在 Malaysia 做一个职业篮球员的话，因为在菲律宾不一样嘛，菲律宾我认识很多朋友在 PBA 打球，在其他的菲律宾，他们基本上菲律宾的篮球员基本上是 king。对啊，他们都是他 live the lifestyle 是很夸张的嘛。但在 Malaysia 做一个职业篮球员的，大概的 lifestyle 都是薪水啊，还有 bonus 啊，还有大概是怎么样呢？
其实就是before 我现在打了这个 Matrix 球队之前，是马来西亚篮球是非常糟糕的，就是你不可能是以职业篮球员的身份去生活了。
OK。
就是有了这个 Matrix 后就开始，我以为就是其实已经在马来西亚已经算很好了，就是你可以，因为可能马来西亚 compare with 这个马靠，它的生活水平比较低一点，
对，
就很像房子、车子那些全部都是我们都可以 afford 到的。
OK。
就我有问过这边的球员那些，他就说这边。你很难买到一间屋子，因为可能一间屋子就可能
太贵了嘛，
太贵了，
对，
几百万、几千万，
对。
可是在马来西亚就可以很容易就买到，然后可能我们在那边就是篮球员的薪水就是属于蛮高的，就是跟其他职业来比就蛮高的。可是最近我发现到一个东西，就是如果你要以职业篮球员的去生活，其实如果在马来西亚是还可以，是。可是我 compare 其他球员的话，我觉得差太远。
是吗？
没有，就很像我最近了解到菲律宾
对，
台湾，
对。
你说
你不用看了，
就是
对，
就是可能就是他们可以把那个球员包装到很好，然后
对，
薪水那些全部都会给
marketing 很重要，
对，
卖球衣啊，可以有 sponsorship 啊，有很多。
是，可是我们马来西亚就是缺少这些东西，就是没有 market 咯，就是可以讲没有 market，可是我希望是，当然我希望是可以发展更好啊，马来西亚篮球就可以让很多人就可以以职业篮球员去生活咯。
OK，
是不是？然后我最近很像每次被人家问到一个问题，就是很好笑，就是他讲你打完篮球过后你要做什么？你退休？
我刚好就是想问你这个问题。
对，就是我觉得这个问题让我觉得我想一下就觉得很伤心，就是可能很。这样讲就是我先想，如果我现在是 台湾球员的话，我不需要去想退休要做什么。
哦，对，
就我一定我如果打到很好的话，
这个说法要看一下，因为你台湾有很 top 的球员，他们
对，就可能我可以打到台湾最 top 的球员的话，我是意思是说就是
很厉害，
就是我就不需要去想哦，我退休什么，我还要做什么工作去维持我的生活，那我就可能可以，我有很多钱就可以做一点小投资还是什么，对吧？
我懂。
我想想，哇，真是差太远，所以我希望就是可能我出来嘛，就是出来可能就是见识，然后可能希望可以帮助到一点，就是让很多人去支持马来西亚篮球啊，就马来西亚人支持马来西亚篮球，就有 market 嘛
value
啊，对，
你要 value， 因为你的对啊，你 Malaysia 这么大呀，Malaysia 有多少人啊？
马来西亚
大概
没有很大，就是3000万。
3000万都不小啊
，3000万就
在澳门就70万人了。对啊，所以有3000万人就是 follow 你，你就有一个 value， 到时候你的就是你的薪水啊，还有所有的东西都会一直 follow。所以我觉得，因为台湾看起来很好啦，当然有最有名的都赚很多钱，但是我很多朋友打 SPL， 打之前那个霹雳 T1，他们 rookie 都是一个月4-5万台币的。那台湾跟 Malaysia 来讲呢，台湾的 standard living 会高一点，所以我觉得你是有一个 advantage， 因为整个国家现在今天澳门打球 ，Malaysia 所有的媒体都过来看你打球啊。我们的球衣，你的美美的球衣现在已经买完了，所以我觉得是，如果你继续这样打的话，真的是可以做一个 Malaysia 的 Jeremy Lin 的一个故事。对，
希望是可以，就是让马来西亚，因为我喜欢打球嘛，就当然我是想让我国家篮球发展起来。
OK，
是不是？自私一点讲，以后我退休哦，我还可以在篮球这方面，对吧？就是继续下去这样。
对，因为做这个，因为我现在都是做 business，这个 sports business 是其中一个，我觉得是很大的 growth 的 development 的东西。那么 Malaysia 因为我们other than Malaysia Macau 之外，我们还有一个联盟嘛，你应该有知道了，我们要做这个 TAT 的东西，所以我们明年有可能现在谈呢，应该可以去 Malaysia 打，所以最好到时候再可以一直碰一下，到时候看一下你打黑熊还是打什么球队。但我觉得应该是对有 business 的 opportunity 啦，覺得因為這個籃球真係要做這個 value 都不錯啦。OK， 今日非常之開心啦，咁啊即係我通常做訪問都係講嚟講去都係講美股，講股票好悶啊，咁啊即係唔係有時有少少悶啦，係啦。咁啊今日終於可以講下籃球咧，我自己中意打籃球咁啊，我係球隊嘅球員，終於有機會即係除咗球場見面啦，亦都可以帶到我哋即係喺呢個我要做富翁呢個頻道嗰度同大家分享下佢嘅心路歷程啊！咁啊，大家去支持我哋球隊啦，支持阿美美喺呢個馬來西亞嘅呢個籃球職業嗰度，雖然如果佢之後唔再打黑熊咧，就唔使支持佢啦，係啦。咁啊，嚟緊咧仲有另外一位嘉賓咧，咁啊佢係好勁嘅，之前咧做大行，而家咧亦都係 run 緊呢個非常之大全亞洲其中最大一個籃球比賽嘅，咁啊轉頭咧就會訪問佢啦。咁我身邊咧有呢位朋友啦 ，Henry 啦，咁啊 Henry 咧其實就係呢個 EASL 嘅老闆啦、創辦人啦。咁啊其實咧阿 Henry 個 background 咧同我非常之相似嘅，我哋兩個都係做金融底啦，亦都係即係做一啲即係比較係睇數字啊 finance 嗰邊為主嘅。咁佢而家 run 緊一個非常之大，我認為即係好似足球一個 Championship League 咁，呢個籃球就係叫 EASL 一個每個一個亞洲唔同 region 嘅冠軍球隊將會組成一個聯盟。咁我嘅澳門黑熊咧就係屬於即係我哋就代表澳門啦。咁今晚就比賽啦。首先歡迎 Henry 啊，咁 Henry 咧一個外國人係唔識講中文嘅，
識講啊，
係啊識講啊，幾勁，識講少少。因為其實 Henry you grew up in Hong Kong, right? Actually,
that's right. Grew up in Hong Kong most of my life and did high school there, but did university in Beijing. So the rest of my time was up north.
Okay, got you. Yeah, your Chinese probably better than mine. I left when I was like in first grade, so my Chinese I can't read any of these Chinese words either. But I appreciate you coming over. I know you're super busy. It's game day. You've been running around for all these. I appreciate you for spending time with this podcast.
No, happy to be here.
All right, so let's get to it quickly. So Henry, can you give a little bit of our subscribers a bit of your background, what you did before? Because you worked at JP Morgan before, right? So can you give us a little bit of your background, how your experience in working in the corporate world translate into running a basketball league?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I finished university, I was doing an engineering degree, and was really sort of excited to do more international work around financial engineering, but also finance. So I joined JP, primarily focused on the China business in investment banking, which was at the time sort of the boom years, I guess, around tech, around media. You had Tencent, you had Baba, you had all these incredible companies that were going out and doing a lot of acquisition stuff, including in the esports space with things like Riot, but also in terms of the fintech space. So I think at that time it was the most exciting sort of asset class to be, but also the most exciting region. And so, looking at that, while still being involved in finance, personally was very bullish on sports as an asset class in globally. And if you look at the US, whether it's NBA, MLB, NFL, at a franchise level, at a league level, at a sort of consumer behavior level, and if you look at Europe, obviously two very mature markets, it's still growing at sort of an exponential level, while in Asia, though there's a huge amount of participation amongst consumers, there wasn't a huge amount of assets available for private investment, but there was also what I saw a lagging sort of development in that space. And so, being a huge basketball fan, really saw an opportunity to combine sort of all of these different exciting sectors of finance, if you will, media, partnerships and activation, really marketing, even the data rights, which is around betting and around other sort of social engagements into a property. And so we looked around and we saw obviously the CBA in China, huge market, basketball is a big sport. You look at what the NBA is doing year on year there. You look at the participation rate, probably 300 million folks watching it, Tencent paying huge amounts of fees on their broadcast rights. You look at Japan, which at the time was still in its early stages, but has just boomed. And so we went and got the exclusive rights from FIBA, and we got long-term contracts with all of these leagues to say, give us Wednesdays in all of your domestic schedules and let us play a Champions League of Asian basketball. So last year we started that league with 8 teams. This year we obviously expanded it with Macau and Hong Kong, and we'll expand it next season to 15 teams. But our idea and our thesis is, if you look at the correlation between GDP per capita and spending on sports, you have a very, very high correlation between that growth and that growth on spending towards sports. And if you look at the US, roughly 2.8% of GDP on sports, Japan closer to 3%, China 0.4%. And so there's a huge opportunity to say what in China or what in Malaysia or what in Indonesia is going to outperform GDP over the next 10 years. And from purely an investment perspective, we find it a very attractive, as long as the business is run efficiently and as long as it's run in a way that can break even and deliver profit over time, we find it a very attractive investment to do. And so that was really the basis of how do we raise capital around this, and how do we attack this market.
I definitely agree. You did all the research, because I run a basketball league myself, right? We run the Asian tournament. We're very, very young still. It's our second season right now. But I didn't do any of the researches you did, right? With the GDP and all that stuff.
It was more of like just natural
it makes
research.
Sense, though. It is really good numbers.
Where your parents spent money is not where you're spending money. And where your kids are going to be spending money is not where you're spending money.
And where my kids spending is where I'm spending right now. They're taking all my money right now.
Exactly. But it's also, are they going to say, I want to spend on content? So are they doing Netflix? Are they doing ESPN Pass or NBA Pass? Or yes, and did your folks do that or my folks do that? Absolutely not. And so, those are sort of trends that I think are going to accelerate. And the other thing that we're very bullish on, and I think, because Asia in the private sports space is quite limited, is, the NBA has dominated Asia for many, many years. They do, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. They don't do games here, maybe twice a year.
Correct.
They also don't highlight sort of Asian heroes, Asian stories, and Asian content. And our other thesis about what our research shows is that over the next 10 years, Asian consumers, particularly North Asian consumers, are going to be focused on, I identify with this basketball player. I like him. I want to follow what he eats, what he does, what he trains. And so the content and the sort of following around local heroes, but also folks that you can identify with, is going to be a strong factor in how these sports develop. Correct. And so again, that's something that we're also very bullish on, and how we can bring all these teams together, but also tell all these individual stories around that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. And one more thing for our league, TAT, is that we feel like there's so much talent going around, especially in 2024. Like a guy plays EASL too, Damien Shanqui, right? We just posted a story, right? Guy basically walk on, play Purdue State, had a good career, nothing, right? Now comes to Asia, first triple. He's like what, 5'7", 5'8", gets a triple-double, first ever triple-double in EASL history, right? So we feel like there's so much talent worldwide. It's just that there's not that opportunity for these Asian or non-Asian, different types of hoopers out there that needs a platform just to have a chance to, you know, because NBA, there's only what, a couple hundred people, and like it's pretty much impossible to make it to the NBA right now, right? Because a guy recently said, Mike James, I don't know, remember that guy? He said NBA is for guys who are 6'9", shoots and runs, right? So if you're not 6'9", 6'8", you're not going to get a chance to play in the NBA. But if we play in EASL or TAT or Macau or anywhere in Asia, I think there's a huge potential, like you said, a regional hero, whereas like, okay, LeBron is LeBron, right? Steph is Steph. But you can have your own like Macau hero out here too, or in Hong Kong or in Malaysia or whatever, right? So I think you raise a very good point, actually. Now I feel very confident about my investment now.
Well, I think also, you know, it's obviously a long-term game, but also, you know, consumer behavior is changing. Yes, NBA or yes, NFL, and yes, these premium platforms are always going to be dominant in some sense, but I think Japan is a great example of this. In China, the foreign media rights of NBA, MLB, not MLB, but you know, EPL, Champions League football, they are all higher than the domestic league rights of football or basketball. Whereas in Japan, the domestic football league rights is higher than all the foreign league rights.
Oh wow!
And so that transition happens, you know, with developed markets, and that will happen in China. That will happen in Southeast Asia, where your fans are more interested in their local surroundings. Of course they respect it, and of course they want to see it. But from a day-to-day basis, what they're engaging and what they're consuming becomes much more local, and there's a pride around that, but there's also this ability to relate to it in a much more concrete way.
Yeah.
And I think that's just true. I mean, look, I love NBA. John Morant's a great player. Average Hong Kong kid does not have as much in common with him as he does, let's say, with someone like Glenn Yang or Kobe Lamb or, you know, other folks on Hong Kong Eastern, or, you know, same thing with Macau Black Bears. And so I think that's a huge, strong point that the leagues need to leverage, but also long-term is going to be a good play.
I agree, definitely. That's why we're in the business together. One question I think a lot of viewers or subscribers will want to know, it's a nuts and bolts. So like, what are the costs of running a basketball league, right? So I want to know for you, and then I'll let everybody know about, because you guys are definitely doing a much bigger scale. Our game tonight, Studio City, 5,000 seats, all sold out. There's a lot of media and different things. So what are the P&Ls like in terms of the cost and everything in running a basketball league?
You try to be as asset light as possible, and so you really have a core cost of your team. So your SG&A is going to be 20 to 30% of your cost. That's your marketing team, your ops team. That's your partnership sales team, your media sales team. That team is going to be a core group that you're carrying. So that's your quote unquote basketball team. That's a fixed cost. You have different guarantees that you outline to different teams, and you have different, you know, monetized sort of incentives for teams to play and play hard and play well. That's another fixed cost. And then you have your production. I mean, we can do something where we're using 6 cameras and delivering a product that, you know, is okay. But our philosophy and our view is that Asian consumers, particularly North Asian consumers, won't buy into something unless it's, you know, of a quality of production that they're used to. And so we really track esports. and we look at, what is the quality of that production, both in venue and out of venue, and how do we deliver a product similar to that? And so the production cost of this is obviously the other big cost. But from a league perspective, those are your real costs. We have legal costs, obviously, with drafting a lot of contracts, getting through that, but really the 3 core buckets are those.
So over, how many people do you guys have on your team right now?
We are now at 41 people.
Oh, wow, 41, okay.
We have a very good team in Hong Kong, which is sort of our headquarters, but our largest office is in Manila.
Okay.
And then obviously we do stuff in Korea, Japan, Chinese Taipei, and we are expanding in Southeast Asia. So we have Singapore, Malaysia, and then we have Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Macau.
Okay, gotcha.
So spread everywhere, but 2 real main hubs.
Gotcha. So for us, it's similar, same thing, right? Fixed cost is obviously the marketing guys, the productions, much lower scale than you guys. Were very new, right? But we spend a lot more on the marketing. We're working with Dwight Howard, obviously, so we want to get everything out there. It's our first year, second year doing it, really. But I definitely agree with you that, in order to have a good product, you got to be able to entice the good teams, the good players who play, right? So that's kind of our struggle right now. But we're getting there. So I'm thinking hopefully we can work something together, like our TAT champion face the EASL champion, do a 7-game series. That'd be fun. And we'll put some money on it just between me and you,
I think the structure around these things is key, and communicating those structures to consumers and to fans. And everyone wants that build-up, everyone wants that playoff, everyone wants that finals, and everyone wants that champion. So obviously all of that stuff has to be structured, concretely.
Yep, so most people look at NBA, it's all glamorous, it's so... Running a basketball business, I've been running different types of business, food and beverage, sports, everything. I think it's one of the toughest is running a sports league. It's so much...
I think a team is probably harder than a league. I mean, you're dealing with serious personalities. You're dealing, your HR nightmare.
Yeah.
And then you're constantly trying to, improve the team and get that score up. So obviously, upgrading. So I think that's a lot of stress. Leagues, a little more flat.
I'll get into a little bit about that. So running a team, obviously the fixed cost, same thing, right? Players, coaches, trainers, everything, right? So, but we got the best in the business. As you know, Lucas, our GM, he finds the best freaking players we can ever find. Oh my
everywhere.
God, this guy is the greatest. We gotta give him a shout out. He doesn't use social media. He doesn't do any of that stuff. But wow, he's great. But like you said, running a basketball team is more than money, right? It's about culture. It's about running it properly. It's about government. It's about venues, everything, right? So I've been having a lot of fun doing this. At the same time, it gives me headaches every other night.
Of course.
Yeah, right. So,
and you're deploying capital.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's the turning point of this ROI?
Yeah, so running a basketball team obviously has like you said, I remember that, the ROI, right? So to make that ROI is quite difficult in a smaller market, right, Macau. So, and our cost is way over 8-digit, right, Hong Kong dollars. So it's pretty hard. We got to get the right sponsor of investors. So that's something that we're looking at hopefully growing in the future. And that's how, for everybody, all the subscribers, running a basketball team looks all cool and stuff, but on the inside, it's not as fun as it seems like. And it costs a lot, 8 figures at least.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
Day. Yes, no. Yeah, go buy a ticket, watch basketball game, and
go home, sleep.
Yes, that's the best way to support basketball. But one last question I do want to talk to you about is that most of our subscribers from Hong Kong. Right now we have the Hong Kong Eastern joining EASL, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of grew up in Hong Kong. So what's your take on Hong Kong basketball in the future, and in terms of the business side and growing the sport of basketball in Hong Kong?
Yeah, look, I think Hong Kong traditionally was sort of old school in how it ran its league, and old school in how sort of the media, the marketing, everything was around that. So if NBA is killing it in Hong Kong with NBA League Pass, with NBA Shop, but the local league is not doing so well in terms of the commercialization, there's a gap, and something's not running right. And this happened in Chinese Taipei before, when SBL was running the league, and what'd you have? You had breakaway leagues, you had P League, you had the TPBL, because they were there to fill a demand of something that was not being met. I think Hong Kong Eastern joining us has elevated their game, elevated their performance, elevated their commercialization. But the other thing is that Hong Kong never had premium venues. And now we've just opened up Kai Tak Sports Park. the venue's great, the stadium's great, but also the indoor basketball venue's great. So the hardware and the software, I think, are coming together in the right way. And then the last part of this is just development. And personally, and EASL, we'll be making announcements soon, but we're going to be investing a huge amount in youth development in Hong Kong. And I think that's a long-term plan for us. But look, you got a market of rabid fans that are young, that have a high discretionary income, highly urbanized, and love basketball. And so you have all of the ingredients for something that should not only support a local ecosystem, but should also support the commercialization, the peripheral values around that. So I'm super bullish on it. I think you got incredible franchises with great brand names, South China, Eastern, Wingling. I mean, these guys have been around for years. So I think the translation of that, or how we turn that from sort of a federation-driven model of play to just play, towards engaging with consumers, engaging with media, and really producing a premium product is going to happen. And I think when it does, it's going to be a great place to be.
Yeah, I agree.
And look, I'm not all like everything's great, everything's growing, but at the same time, the market has the demand, and we know it because when we do a game there, it's full, and when we do good content there, it's engaged. Maybe 100,000 subscribers, but it's 80% engagement rate. And so people are tuned in and they care and they want something better.
Yeah, they are very, very diehard fans. Like I go to the game, everybody holding their flags and stuff. It's crazy.
It's
right?
great.
So a lot of times we heard when we're growing up as kids, from what I heard from like my friends in Hong Kong, they're like, 打波搵唔到食, right? That's always the saying, right?
Yeah.
But that might be about to change, right? Eastern, and then there's all these new guys coming in.
Well, TAT's doing stuff, with that.
Exactly.
There's disruption because the consumers want something. And even 3-on-3 coming in, it's a FIBA product, it's a good product, and it's changed the dynamics. And I went to the 3-on-3 finals, and so look, I think part of it, we didn't have good venues, now we do. And then the other part was that the system wasn't conducive to producing high quality content and high engagement content for consumers. And now we have that.
I agree.
So let's see how it pans out.
It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. OK， 咁啊，今日咧就講到呢度啦。咁我哋cover 咗好多嘢啊，即係做一個籃球聯賽需要嘅成本啦，同埋即係嚟緊嗰個前景啦。加埋就係我自己 run 一隊球隊，大家知道即係嗰個成本嗰樣嘢啦。咁啊，我覺得即係都幾 promising， 因為投資運動呢樣嘢咧，即係好多人即係都唔係好了解，但係其實係一個幾好嘅potential， 但係 at the same time 啦個 risk 亦都非常之高。但係亞洲呢個region 咧，我哋認為係一個非常非常之一個 good opportunity。我哋呢幾年都見到真係一個唔錯嘅一個增長嚟嘅。咁啊，今日非常之開心同 Henry 坐低啦，有機會可以分享即係我哋大家唔同嘅睇法啦。咁啊，大家記得咧繼續 subscribe 我哋嘅 channel 啦，繼續 like。咁啊，我哋繼續會 provide 多啲唔同嘅 content 俾大家。下次見 ，Thanks Henry。有冇補充
？Thank you guys.
In Chinese.
謝謝大家，就是看到我們今天的話題啦。
OK， 好 ，Thank you。
Ewan Cantley，sorry。
大家應該睇完我呢幾條片咧，都知道咧，即係小弟啦，都投資好多喺呢個運動呢個板塊裡面嘅。咁啊，做完之前嗰兩個 interview 咧，都俾到大家多啲啟示。其實投資運動咧係一個即係一個幾辛苦，但係啦，我自己認為都有大 potential return 嘅一個 sector 啦。咁啊比較另類多少少嘅，但係咧我自己嚟緊咧8月今年咧就有個大型嘅活動啦，就咁啊見到呢個就係 Kawhi Leonard 啊，咁就係即係2019年幫我哋呢個多倫多 Toronto Raptors 攞冠軍嘅 Finals MVP， 咁我哋邀請到佢咧將會嚟亞洲做一個 Asian Tour 嘅，咁啊大家 follow 住我哋呢個 The Asian Tournament 籃球嗰個比賽 Instagram 咧 for more information 啦，咁啊多謝大家支持啦。
我哋請人啦！如果咧你對影片製作有熱誠，中意寫作，熟知 YouTube 運作嘅，仲精於數據分析，咁就啱晒啦！歡迎咧成為我哋嘅節目助理啊！你會協助直播或者影片節目嘅製作、內容分析同埋質素監控㗎。中意創作、有團隊精神嘅你，千祈唔好錯過啊！
訂閱埋以下 channel 就可以一手掌握大市資訊、環球睇樓同我嘅私家生活，或者下載我要做富翁 App 做會員啦！